So how does this work? The Agility Web Explorer is built on the same design studio that we've used for years now with the Agility Design Studio. So if you've been a customer for a while and you've been working with Design Studio, or maybe you're a business partner and you're using this in specific consulting applications, if you know how to use this tool, you now can just open it up and create a web component. I'm going to take a shot here and pass the baton over to Bruce just for a minute and let him create a component and display it. We'll see how that's going to work.
All right, so this is my environment where I have several applications on my, I've given my access to these applications, and I have these different groups available for me right now. But I want to create something brand new just for my presentation today. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a project. And this is just anybody familiar with the Design Studio product that we have, you're seeing the same environment you're used to using and building desktop components. So I'm going to create a new project, and I'm going to call it Web Project. And the only thing I have to do unique here is I have to say it's a web project. All web components have to be in a web-based project versus a desktop client-server project. So that's going to go ahead and create and open that project. And it's an empty project. And over here I have the web menu that you saw on my screen over here. So I manage everything in Design Studio just the same way I would if I'm in regular Design Studio and you're used to. And the components is a shorter list. We don't have everything available that you have in the desktop solution. You don't have calendars and other components. We'll be expanding the range of components over time. Pretty much it's grid and process grid, but all of your executable elements are still here. You can still do stored procedures, object transactions. So all the object transactional capability that is available in the core product is presented to you in the web project and exactly the same capability. Nothing's been diluted in that sense. So I'm going to create a new grid. I'm going to call it Bruce's grid. And I'm going to give it an icon. Something might be a little interesting here. We have a fairly large icon library, so we'll just give it something unique. And all I'm going to do is come over here and do something very simple. Select asterisk from OE ord header underscore SQL. But I'm going to just select certain fields. Typically, when you do a web project, it's probably good to keep your number of fields to a minimum because of the display time, but you can select more columns that would fit on the screen. I'll show you what that does. And we'll select a few fields here that maybe more than we need just to show you what happens when you have extra fields. And then the one extra thing we have here is a key. You have to give it a unique key to the grid, which is usually the primary key of the table you're selecting from. It's pretty obvious. And now we have Bruce's grid. And you'll see in design mode, I have the ability to design and edit that grid. But let's do this. Let's create a new group, and we'll call this webinar. And then if I go back over here and hit F5, I now have my new group, but it's empty. And this, the nice thing about web development is it's incredibly dynamic. You know, I don't have to shut down the browser and reopen it. I just merely refresh with F5 and all the changes I'm making become available. So I'm going to drag my grid over here with a distinct icon. And now we have Bruce's grid over here available for editing, just like I had over here inside. So I could either edit the component here completely, or I could just go over to my web application. And now I have a lot of extra fields here. I put some extra fields. You can expand and see those in responsive mode. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new layout because I don't have one yet. Oops. It's called default. All right, now I want to do some work on the layout like Bob did. I want to go into my column editor. And then the name of these columns, you'll notice, I mean, they come in the kind of in the format of the column definitions of Macola. But I want something a little more elegant, and I don't want to go to a lot of work of renaming all these. So we have something as a repository that's part of Design Studio if you're used to it. It's the same in regular desktop Design Studio. I just reformatted all the columns. So I'm going to close the editor, and now the columns are all formatted. But I have more columns than I really want to display, but I want to give the user access to them. Maybe they want them for different layouts that they want to do. So I'm going to go into horizontal mode, and then I'm going to go into column chooser, and I'm going to take the apply to number off. I'm going to take the enter date off. I'm going to take the couple of the build to addresses off. Then I'm going to do a save layout, and then I'm going to display responsive, and my design work's done. I can drag columns around as well. And if I actually collapse this here, I pick up more columns. So actually at this point, all my columns are now available to me. So that's what it takes. I mean, it's a lot of the same familiar capability that you've done in Design Studio. So that shows you how easy it is to just use our desktop toolset products in Design Studio and actually now have the ability to either publish to the desktop or publish to the web.